Welcome back, golfers. Today we are going to talk about a really important aspect of your golf swing, and it all starts with your grip. So stay tuned. So all good swings start with a good grip on the club. So our first key to a good grip on the club starts with your equipment, and that is the grip itself. So if you look at the top of the grip, butt of the end of the grip, you'll see there's writing on the end, most likely on your club. Now that grip will say standard, mid-size, oversized. I'll tell you what width that grip is. And if you think of your glove size, if you're a male and you have a medium-sized glove size, you probably fit pretty well into a standard size grip. If you have a large grip or medium large grip, your hand probably fits better with a grip that has extra wraps underneath, whether it's 2 or 3 extra wraps. Now if your hand is an extra large grip or bigger, you're probably going to fit into a mid-size or an oversized grip, just because what we're looking for is when we grip the club is that our fingers don't press into our palms, or when we put our lead hand on there, our hand does not go and wrap over that thumb right there. We don't want to be wrapping over that thumb. We just want it to come and touch that thumb position. We don't want to be wrapping over. So we can create a nice, comfortable position to swing from, where our hands aren't we're not over gripping, or the position that we're in doesn't feel comfortable. So grip size matters. Getting a proper grip fitting really helps you to get into a better, comfortable position to swing from. Now the other aspect about your equipment with your grip is its tackiness. Most golfers don't change out their grips from their original grips that they get from out of the box or from the shop that you get them from. If you're using like a wind grip, those grips typically break down, if you're playing with them quite a bit, in about 6 months. And if you're playing with like a Golf Pride or a Lambkin or something like that, where it's a little bit more rubber, those grips will last up to a year. Could be longer if you keep good care of them. So how do we keep good care of our grips? Easy thing you can do, get a bucket of water, get some soap, and just scrub down those grips. Those grips get a lot of dirt on them. It goes into those grooves and it starts making them slick. If we have a slick grip, we're going to be gripping down tighter on that club, getting tension into our body and making it harder to create a nice natural flow in our golf swing. So wash down the grips, soap and water, towel, dry them clean, and it'll make them a lot tackier. You want to do this at least once a month, and you'll notice your grips staying tackier longer, and you won't have to change them out as often. All right, key number 2 to a good grip, and that's understanding the purpose of the grip and how our body works to set that up. So the purpose of the grip is very simple. We want to get into a strong position where our lead wrist on both wrists are nice and flat, so that it protects our body at impact. The other purpose of it is to square up the face consistently at impact, where we're not having to flip the hands or manipulate at impact. And the final purpose of the grip is to set up our grip to match up with how open our body is at impact. The more open your hips get at impact, the stronger the grip can be, and we'll talk about the strength of the grip coming up here soon. The weaker the grip is, the less your hips can open up. All right, so the third key to a good grip is the grip itself. And the grip itself, we need to first start with our lead hand. And our lead hand, what we want to do is kind of create it like a trigger into that finger, number one. We're going to bring that grip up into the middle of the palm, right there. So when we grip it, our knuckles are gonna work down the shaft. We don't wanna be up, which we see a lot of people up into their palm or up into their lifeline of their swing, because that's gonna set your wrist angle wrong, and that's going to make it so when you get to the top of the swing, you can't get into a very good position. The club's gonna be out and away from you rather than set behind you. And we need to be able to set it behind us so that we can create lag on the downswing. So little trigger in that index finger, lead hand, bring the grip into the center of the palm, working up the fingers, wrap it around. Thumb will be right on top, if not a little bit onto the trail side of the grip. We don't want it on the lead side of the grip because that's going to make a weaker position. Right on top or slightly onto the outside. Now our trail hand, once that's in position, you should be able to bring that hand right together. You can see in your lead thumb, you got this nice little scoop, and on that pad, you got this little pad that kind of matches up with that scoop. You're gonna put those two together. So scoop there, and then that rounded pad right onto that position. Put that into your hand. What we wanna see is 3 fingers on that lead hand on the grip. The other one can be overlapped or interlocked. Once we're there, we put the club down just on our lead hand again. What we wanna see is, visually looking down, 2 knuckles in our lead hand would be neutral. So we're gonna talk neutral. What is neutral right now? So 2 knuckles in the lead hand would be neutral in our lead hand. That V right there going up to my trail shoulder. The other hand just matches up with it. So those V's are going in the same direction. If I'm looking down, I see just barely the outside part of that index finger in my trail hand. Thumb, what we want to see with that trail thumb is that thumb is sitting kind of off to the lead side, not the trail side, because that creates a pushing point or a release, a place where you can release. If you think of like a fishing pole, you put your thumb right on top right there so you can push and release that fishing pole off of it. That's going to create a point of casting in the golf swing, and we don't want to cast it. So we move that thumb just off to the side so that we can take away that pressure point. All right, so that would be considered neutral. 2 knuckles, lead hand, these going out to that trail shoulder. So now let's get you to understand what different grip positions are. And most of you probably know this. If you've been around golf for a while, you know this, but if you're new to the game, this is gonna be very helpful. So if you're looking down and your lead hand and you're seeing no knuckles or 1 knuckle, and that V of the hand is coming towards the chest or maybe towards your lead shoulder, then that would be considered a weak grip. Same thing on the other hand. If that hand wants to work across the club and that V is going up towards that lead shoulder or towards the chest or the head, then that would be considered a weak grip in the trail hand. So if you follow my channel and you're working on your footwork, which we talked about a lot, and you start firing those hips, when you get into a weak position in your grip and you come into impact, and you get into a proper impact position, that face is going to be open. Just because the way we shift our hips and with the way that you should be placing your hands in that grip, it will be naturally open. We don't want you to be in that position. If you have a weak grip, you're probably not able to fire your hips and hit consistent shots. So look at the grip, really important if you're missing shots out in front of you. So let's look at it from the opposite side. Like I said at the beginning, you can have a strong grip, but your body has to match up with that. And a strong grip would be if you're looking down at the grip and you're seeing more of the back of that palm, you're seeing maybe 3 knuckles. 2.5 would be just slightly stronger than neutral. 3 knuckles would be really strong grip. You're seeing the whole back of the hand, that V of that lead hand is going over here, then that's a very strong lead hand. The other thing we might see is in that trail hand, you might have a neutral lead hand, but that trail hand, you start working that grip underneath and then that trail hand's really strong. If the hands aren't matching up with those V's, they're not talking well together. We can have a little bit of play in our trail hand, but not a lot. The trail hand helps with the release, and if you're too strong, it's going to create the club to be in a poor position at the top where it's aiming more towards the sky with that lead edge. And then when you come into the ball, you're probably going to have to hold everything off to make it so you don't release, because that trail hand helps with the release. And if that face is already in a shut position, you're not going to be able to do it. So watch that trail hand, make sure it matches up with those V's as you're swinging. Yeah. All right, so my final key to the grip, that's key number 4, and that is grip pressure. And there's a lot of talk about grip pressure. I'm sure you'll hear it. You want to keep your grip pressure really light. I'm not going to worry about how tight you grip it. I just don't want you gripping it, having a death grip, you know, when you're grabbing that club. What we do need to make sure we do have, though, is supple wrists when you're swinging. You'll be able to move those wrists around. If your grip's so tight that you're trying to move your wrists and you're doing this, or you feel tension up into the wrists, into the elbows, into the shoulders, into those arms, and they're getting stiff, well, that's going to hurt your flow in your golf swing. A softer grip will allow your wrists to work the way we want, allow them to release the way we want. It doesn't have to be barely on there. You can grip it tight enough in the fingers that you feel comfortable, that that club's not going anywhere, and you have control over it. Just make sure those wrists can move. You're not creating tension through the arms up into the body, which is going to hurt the way that we flow through our golf swing. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you got anything out of this, think about hitting that like button. Think about subscribing to my channel. I put out videos on a monthly basis just to help golfers get better at this difficult game of golf. And remember, if your feet aren't working, your swing's not working. I'll catch you guys next time.